Most people work hard their entire lives and have little to show for it. They put in the hours, they follow the rules, they show up day after day, and yet somehow the success they're chasing stays just out of reach. The bank account doesn't grow. The opportunities don't come. The life they imagine remains a distant dream. And here's what kills me about this situation. They blame everything except the real problem. They blame the economy, their boss, their education, the government, their circumstances, even their family background. But they never look in the mirror and ask the question that changes everything. Am I the problem? Have I become the kind of person who deserves the life I want? That's a hard question. Nobody wants to hear it. We'd rather believe that we're victims of bad luck or unfair circumstances than face the truth that maybe, just maybe, we haven't developed ourselves enough to earn what we're after. But that truth, as uncomfortable as it is, contains the key to everything you've ever wanted. See, life doesn't pay you what you need. It doesn't pay you what you want. It doesn't even pay you what you think you deserve. Life pays you what you're worth. And your worth isn't determined by your good intentions or your desperate circumstances. It's determined by what you can do, what you know, who you've become, and the value you bring to the marketplace and to other people. I learned this lesson the hard way. When I was 25 years old, I was broke. I mean, really broke. I was working at a department store, stocking shelves and doing whatever they asked me to do, and I was making pennies. My income was embarrassing. I had a family to support, bills piling up, and dreams that seemed to mock me every time I looked at my paycheck. I worked hard. Nobody could say I didn't work hard. I showed up on time. I did what I was told. I put in the effort, but the results just weren't there, and I was angry about it. I felt like life was cheating me, like I deserved more than what I was getting. Then one day I met a man named Earl Schae, and he changed my life with one sentence. We were talking about my situation, and I was probably complaining about how hard I worked for so little return when he looked at me and said something I'll never forget. Jim, if you want to have more, you have to become more. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. And then he hit me with the line that turned everything around. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Think about that. Most people spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week working on their job, building someone else's dream, making someone else wealthy, and they spend almost no time working on themselves. They don't read. They don't study. They don't develop new skills. They don't expand their knowledge. They don't challenge their thinking. They just keep showing up, doing the same things, being the same person, and then they wonder why year after year nothing changes. The answer is simple. You haven't changed. You're trying to get different results from the same person. Here's what Earl taught me to understand. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Everything on the outside, your income, your relationships, your health, your lifestyle, your opportunities, all of it reflects who you are on the inside. If you want to change your results, you can't just rearrange the furniture in your life. You can't just switch jobs or move to a new city or hope for better luck. You have to change yourself. You have to grow. You have to develop. You have to become someone different, someone better, someone more valuable, because when you change, everything changes for you. But most people have this equation completely backwards. They think success works like this. First, I'll get the money, then I'll invest in myself. First, I'll get the promotion. Then I'll learn what I need to know. First, I'll find the perfect opportunity. Then I'll become the kind of person who can handle it. They're waiting for external success to justify internal growth. And it never works that way. It can't work that way. The universe doesn't reward potential or good intentions. It rewards value. And you create value by becoming valuable yourself. The truth is, you can't attract what you're not ready for. You can't handle what you haven't prepared for. You can't sustain what you haven't grown into. Say someone handed you $1 million right now. If you haven't developed the financial discipline, the wisdom, the character, the knowledge to manage that kind of money, you'd lose it. The statistics prove it. Lottery winners go broke because money simply magnifies who you already are. If you're careless with $100, you'll be careless with 100,000. If you can't manage your time when you have a regular job, you can't manage your time when you're running a business. External circumstances don't fix internal deficiencies. They expose them. So the real work The work that matters isn't out there in the marketplace. It's in here, inside you. It's in your mind, your habits, your philosophy, your character, your skills. That's where the transformation begins. That's where the power lies. When I finally understood this, when I stopped blaming my circumstances and started working on myself, everything began to shift. Not overnight. Personal development isn't magic, but steadily, progressively, unmistakably. As I became more, I earned more. As I learned more, I attracted more. As I grew in value, opportunities that never existed before started appearing. And here's the beautiful part. Nobody can take that away from you. They can take your money, they can take your job, they can take your possessions, but they can't take what you've become. Once you develop a skill, it's yours. Once you acquire knowledge, you own it. Once you build your character, it goes with you everywhere. That's why working on yourself is the safest, smartest investment you'll ever make. The return is guaranteed, and it compounds over time in ways you can't even predict right now. Think about two people working the same job for the same pay. One person goes home and watches television for 4 hours. The other person goes home and reads for 1 hour. Just 1 hour a day. In a year, that's 365 hours of learning versus 365 hours of entertainment. In 5 years, one person has invested over 1,800 hours in their growth, while the other has invested that same time in nothing that adds value. Who do you think will still be working that same job in 5 years? Who do you think will have moved on to something better, something bigger, something more rewarding? The difference isn't luck. It's not connections. It's not even talent. It's what they did with their time when nobody was watching. It's who they decided to become. This is why I get frustrated when people complain about their circumstances but refuse to change themselves. They want a better life, but they're not willing to become a better person. They want more money, but they're not willing to become more valuable. They want respect and recognition, but they're not willing to develop respectable, recognizable skills and character. It doesn't work that way. Life gives you what you give life. The marketplace pays you what you're worth to the marketplace. People treat you according to who you are, not who you wish you were or think you should be. So if you're sitting there wondering why you're stuck, why success hasn't found you yet, why opportunities pass you by, stop looking outside yourself for the answer. The answer is in the mirror. Have you read the books you need to read? Have you learned the skills you need to learn? Have you developed the discipline, the work ethic, the philosophy, the character that success requires? Have you become someone worth rewarding? Because that's what this is really about. Before you can do more, have more, achieve more, you must become more. And becoming more is a decision you make every single day through the small choices that either build you up or tear you down, that either move you forward or keep you stuck exactly where you are. So what does it actually mean to work on yourself? That's where most people get lost. They hear the idea and they agree with it. Sure, personal development sounds good, but then they don't know where to start. They don't know what to focus on. They end up reading a book here, attending a seminar there, but there's no real strategy, no clear direction. It's just random activity that makes them feel productive without actually producing results. Let me break this down for you, because personal development isn't complicated, but it does require clarity about what needs to develop. There are 4 main areas you need to focus on: your skills, your knowledge, your philosophy, and your character. These 4 pillars support everything else in your life. Get these right, keep developing these, and success becomes inevitable. Neglect any of them, and you'll struggle no matter how hard you work or how good your intentions are. Start with skills. Skills are your ability to do things that other people need done. The marketplace doesn't care about your efforts or your sincerity. It cares about results. Can you solve problems? Can you create value? Can you communicate effectively? Can you lead people? Can you sell? Can you build something? Can you fix something? Can you make something better than it was before? Every skill you develop increases your value and expands your opportunities. When I was broke and going nowhere, I had almost no valuable skills. I could show up on time and work hard, but so could a million other people. There was nothing special about what I brought to the table. So I started learning. I studied sales because I realized that no matter what you do in life, You're selling something, ideas, products, yourself, your vision. I studied communication because I saw that the people who got ahead were the ones who could articulate their thoughts clearly and persuasively. I studied business and economics and human nature because I needed to understand how the world actually works, not how I wished it worked. And here's what I discovered. Every new skill you acquire doesn't just add to your value, it multiplies it. When you combine skills, you become unique. There are thousands of people who can do one thing well, but very few who can do 3 or 4 things well and blend them together in creative ways. That's where you separate yourself from the crowd. That's where you become someone special, someone irreplaceable, someone worth paying a premium for. Now let's talk about knowledge. Knowledge is different from skills. Skills are what you can do. Knowledge is what you understand. And what you understand shapes everything. The more you know about your field, about business, about people, about economics, about history, about psychology, the better decisions you make. Better decisions lead to better results. It's that simple. I made terrible decisions when I was 25 because I didn't know any better. I thought I knew enough. I thought my opinions were as good as anyone else's, but I was wrong. I was operating on limited information and faulty assumptions, and my life reflected that ignorance. The day I started reading books, everything changed. Not because reading is magical, but because books gave me access to wisdom I couldn't get anywhere else. Think about it. You can sit down with a book written by someone who spent 40 years mastering their craft, learning through trial and error, making mistakes, and discovering principles, and in a few hours you can absorb the essence of what they learned. That's incredible. That's leverage. That's how you compress decades of learning into days. But most people don't read. They're too busy, they say. They're too tired. They don't enjoy it. So they repeat the same mistakes that thousands of people before them have already made and learned from. They waste years figuring out what someone could have taught them in an afternoon. When Earl Schae told me to read, I resisted at first. I said I didn't have time. He said, then you'll stay broke. I said books were expensive. He said the library is free. I ran out of excuses. So I started reading, and it opened up worlds I didn't know existed. I read about philosophy and history and business and success principles and human psychology. Each book challenged my thinking, expanded my perspective, gave me new tools to work with, and gradually, slowly, my philosophy began to change. That brings me to the third pillar, philosophy. Your philosophy is how you think about life. It's your attitude, your perspective, your core beliefs about how things work. And here's the critical part. Your philosophy determines your actions determine your results. If your philosophy is wrong, everything downstream from that is wrong. If you believe life is unfair and you're a victim, you'll act like a victim and get victim results. If you believe success is mostly luck, you won't work on developing yourself because you think it won't matter. If you believe rich people are greedy and money is the root of evil, you'll sabotage yourself every time you start making progress because deep down you don't want to become what you despise. I had terrible philosophy when I was struggling. I blamed the government for my financial problem. I blamed my employer for not paying me enough. I blamed the economy. I blamed my lack of education. I had a whole list of reasons why I wasn't doing well, and none of them included me. My philosophy was, life happens to me, and I'm at the mercy of circumstances beyond my control. That philosophy kept me powerless. It kept me stuck. It gave me permission to stay small. When my philosophy changed to I'm responsible for my life, my results are in my hands, I can learn and grow and become more valuable, when that became my operating system, everything shifted. Same world, same economy, same circumstances, different results. Because I was different. The fourth pillar is character. And this might be the most important one of all, because character is who you are when nobody's watching. It's your integrity, your honesty, your work ethic, your reliability, your courage, your persistence. You can have skills and knowledge and even a good philosophy, but if your character is weak, you'll sabotage yourself, you'll cut corners, you'll quit when things get hard, you'll compromise your values for short-term gain. And eventually, people will see through you. They won't trust you. They won't want to do business with you. They won't recommend you. Character is the foundation that everything else is built on. I learned this watching Earl Schae. He was successful not just because he was smart or skilled. Plenty of smart, skilled people fail. He was successful because people trusted him completely. His word was gold. If he said he'd do something, it was done. If he made a promise, he kept it. If he made a mistake, he owned it. That kind of character is rare, and it's magnetic. People want to be around it. Opportunities flow toward it. Success follows it naturally. So how do you develop character? The same way you develop anything else, through practice, through discipline, through choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, day after day after day. Character isn't something you're born with. It's something you build through thousands of small decisions. Do you do what you said you'd do even when you don't feel like it? Do you tell the truth even when a lie would be easier? Do you keep working when everyone else has quit? Do you treat people with respect even when they can't do anything for you? These daily choices, these seemingly insignificant moments, they're building your character brick by brick. Now here's what stops most people from doing this work. They want instant results. They want to read one book and get rich. They want to attend one seminar and transform their life. They want to make one good decision and have everything fall into place. But personal development doesn't work like that. It's not an event, it's a process. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. The results compound slowly over time, so slowly you might not even notice the changes day to day. But compare who you are now to who you were a year ago, 5 years ago, and if you've been working on yourself consistently, the difference will be dramatic. The compound effect is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and most people completely underestimate it. They think small changes don't matter. Reading for 30 minutes a day, what difference does that make? Listening to educational content during your commute, how will that change anything? Working on your skills for an hour each evening, surely that's not enough. But it is enough. 30 minutes a day is 3.5 hours a week. That's over 180 hours a year. In 5 years, you've invested 900 hours in your growth. That's equivalent to a full-time job for nearly 6 months. You're telling me that wouldn't make a difference? You're telling me that person wouldn't be significantly more valuable, more capable, more knowledgeable than someone who spent that same time being entertained? The tragedy is that most people won't do it. They won't make the investment. They'll say they don't have time, but they'll watch television for 3 hours tonight. They'll say they can't afford books, but they'll spend money on things that don't add any value to their life. They'll say they're too tired to learn something new, but they'll scroll through social media for an hour before bed. It's not that they can't develop themselves, it's that they won't. They choose the easy path of staying the same over the challenging path of becoming more. And that choice, repeated daily, determines everything. 5 years from now, you'll arrive. The question is, where? Who will you be when you get there? Will you be the same person you are today, just 5 years older with the same problems and the same limitations? Or will you be someone new, someone better, someone who's earned the right to bigger opportunities and greater rewards? Understanding what you need to develop is one thing. Actually doing the daily work to develop it is something else entirely. That's where most people fall apart. They know what they should do, but they don't do it. They have good intentions, great plans, wonderful ideas about who they want to become, but when it comes down to the daily disciplines required to get there, they fold. They give in to what's easy, what's comfortable, what feels good right now. And that's the difference between people who succeed and people who don't. It's not intelligence, it's not talent, it's not even opportunity, it's discipline. Here's one of the most important things I've ever learned. Success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day, while failure is a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Think about that. It's not the big dramatic decisions that shape your life, it's the small ones you make when nobody's watching. Do you read tonight or watch television? Do you eat healthy or grab fast food? Do you save a portion of your income or spend everything you make? Do you keep your commitments or make excuses? Do you show up early or slide in right on time? These seem like tiny choices, insignificant in the moment, but they're not. They're everything. Let me give you an example. Say there are two people, same age, same income, same circumstances. One decides to save 10% of their income starting today. The other spends everything they make. In the first month, the difference is barely noticeable. One person has maybe a couple $100 saved, the other has nothing. No big deal, right? But fast forward 10 years. One person has built a financial cushion, has options, has security, has peace of mind. The other is still living paycheck to paycheck, stressed about money, trapped by their circumstances. Same starting point, drastically different destinations. What made the difference? One small discipline, practiced consistently over time. The same principle applies to everything else. Reading 30 minutes a day seems insignificant. But over a year, that's dozens of books, hundreds of ideas, thousands of new thoughts that reshape how you see the world. Exercising for 30 minutes a day seems like it won't matter much. But over a year, your health improves, your energy increases, your confidence grows, your discipline strengthens. Writing down your goals every morning seems like a waste of time. But over a year, your focus sharpens, your actions align, your progress accelerates. Small disciplines, practiced daily, compound into extraordinary results. The problem is that these disciplines are easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. Nobody forces you to read. Nobody makes you save money. Nobody stands over you demanding that you work on your skills. It's all on you. And that's exactly why most people don't do it. There's no immediate consequence for skipping it today. You can skip reading tonight and nothing bad happens. You can eat poorly today and you're fine. You can neglect your personal development this week and your life looks the same. So people think it doesn't matter. They think they can start tomorrow or next week or next year. They'll get serious about it later when things calm down, when they have more time, when circumstances are better. But here's what they don't understand. Those small errors in judgment, those little neglects, they're compounding too, just in the opposite direction. Skipping exercise today doesn't make you unhealthy overnight, but skip it for a year and your health deteriorates. Spending everything you earn doesn't create a crisis immediately, but do it for 10 years and you're in financial trouble. Neglecting your learning doesn't make you obsolete today, but do it long enough and the world passes you by. The same compound effect that builds success when you practice good disciplines also creates failure when you repeat poor choices. So what are the specific disciplines you need to practice? Start with reading. I can't emphasize this enough. Reading is the fastest, cheapest, most effective way to transform yourself. 30 minutes a day, minimum. Read books about your field, about business, about success principles, about philosophy, about anything that makes you think differently and challenges your current understanding. The people who don't read have no advantage over those who can't read. Don't be ignorant by choice. Next, set goals and review them daily. Write down what you want to accomplish this year, this month, this week, today. Be specific. Make them measurable. Review them every morning. This keeps your mind focused on what matters instead of drifting through life, reacting to whatever happens. Most people don't have goals, they have wishes. Wishes are vague and powerless. Goals are specific and motivating. The discipline of goal setting and daily review keeps you on track even when distractions try to pull you away. Take care of your health. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life. If it breaks down, everything else becomes harder. You don't need to become an athlete, but you do need to move regularly, eat reasonably well, get enough sleep. These aren't luxuries, they're necessities. Poor health drains your energy, clouds your thinking, limits your productivity. Good health gives you the stamina and clarity to do everything else better. Manage your money with discipline. Save before you spend, pay yourself first, live below your means, not at them or beyond them. Financial discipline gives you options, reduces stress, and builds confidence. Financial chaos does the opposite. You can't work on yourself effectively when you're constantly worried about money. Get control of your finances so they serve you instead of enslaving you. Invest in relationships with intention. Spend time with people who challenge you to grow, who believe in you, who want more for you than you want for yourself. Distance yourself from people who drain your energy, who complain constantly, who pull you back toward mediocrity. This isn't about being cold or superior, it's about protecting your mental environment. You become like the people you spend time with. Choose carefully. Track your progress. Keep a journal. Write down what you're learning, what you're working on, what's changing. Measure your growth. This gives you feedback, helps you see patterns, shows you how far you've come when you feel discouraged. You can't manage what you don't measure, and personal development is no exception. Now, here's the challenge with all of this. Results lag behind the effort. You practice these disciplines today, this week, this month, and you might not see much change. The reading hasn't made you rich yet. The saving hasn't made you wealthy yet. The exercise hasn't transformed your body yet. And that gap between effort and results, that's where most people quit. They decide it's not working because they can't see immediate evidence of change. But the change is happening beneath the surface. The disciplines are working even when you can't see it yet. The compound effect is building momentum that will eventually become undeniable. But you have to stay consistent long enough to reach that tipping point. This is where faith comes in. Not religious faith necessarily, but faith in the process. Faith that if you do the right things for the right reasons over a long enough period of time, the results will come. Trust the disciplines, trust the compound effect, trust that becoming better will lead to having better. Because it will. It always does. So where does all this personal development lead? What's the point of reading and learning and building skills and practicing disciplines if the results still aren't showing up? Here's what you need to understand. When you work on yourself, you're not just improving, you're becoming valuable. And value is what the marketplace rewards. Value is what creates opportunities. Value is what attracts success naturally without you having to chase it, beg for it, or force it. The marketplace doesn't pay you for the hour you work. It pays you for the value you bring to that hour. Two people can work the same job for the same amount of time, but if one brings more skill, more knowledge, more problem-solving ability, more leadership, that person gets paid more. Not because life is fair or unfair, because they're worth more, they deliver more value, and value always finds a way to get rewarded. When I was making pennies at that department store, I wasn't worth much to the marketplace. I showed up, I did basic tasks, but I wasn't solving significant problems. I wasn't creating exceptional value. I wasn't bringing anything special to the table. Then I started working on myself, developing skills, gaining knowledge, changing my philosophy, building my character. And something fascinating happened. The opportunities started appearing. Not because I got lucky, not because someone finally gave me a break, but because I had become someone worth investing in, someone capable of handling bigger challenges, someone who could deliver results that mattered. That's the law of attraction people don't talk about enough. It's not about visualizing what you want and waiting for the universe to deliver it. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what you want because you're ready for it. When you're valuable, people seek you out. When you can solve problems, opportunities find you. When you bring excellence to everything you do, doors open that were previously closed. Not through manipulation or networking tricks, through the natural magnetic pull of genuine value. Think about the most successful people you know. They're not running around desperately chasing opportunities. Opportunities chase them. Why? Because they've made themselves so valuable, so capable, so reliable that people want to work with them, hire them, partner with them, invest in them. They've done the internal work, and the external rewards follow naturally. But here's where patience comes in. You might be working on yourself right now and wondering when things will change. You're reading, you're learning, you're practicing disciplines, you're becoming better, but your circumstances look the same. Your income hasn't increased. The promotion hasn't come. The business hasn't taken off. Don't panic. Don't quit. The gap between who you're becoming and what you're experiencing is temporary. Keep working on yourself. Keep adding value to yourself. The results are coming. Sometimes the marketplace takes a while to recognize your increased value. Sometimes you need to position yourself differently. Sometimes you need to change environments entirely because where you are doesn't reward what you've become. But the work you're doing on yourself is never wasted. It's building equity that will pay dividends for the rest of your life. Every skill you develop, every book you read, every discipline you practice, it's all making you more valuable, and valuable people eventually get valued. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for your circumstances to change and start changing yourself. Stop wishing things were easier and start becoming better. Stop looking for shortcuts and start doing the work. Work on your skills. Expand your knowledge. Develop your philosophy. Build your character. Practice the disciplines. Be patient with the process, but relentless with the effort. Make the decision today that you're going to become someone worth rewarding, not 5 years from now when you have more time, not next year when things calm down. Today, right now. Start reading tonight. Set your goals tomorrow morning. Practice one new discipline this week. Take one small step toward becoming more valuable, then take another step and another. Let the compound effect do its work. Because here's the truth, everything you want is available. The life you dream about, the success you desire, the impact you want to make, it's all within reach. But not for who you are right now, for who you're willing to become. Work on yourself first. Become more. The results will follow. They always do.